Guys, welcome back. How are you? Are you learning anything? Learning anything from the SDHOs, which is it is your favorite podcast. It is your favorite hangout. It is your favorite learning experience. And I'm happy to facilitate that along with other things. We're going to be making some digital art videos, some 3D computer graphics videos, and probably a whole lot of other cool ass shit. I do want to make them more Ableton-y, because I realize the only reason why people are here is because they like me doing the Ableton videos. But I started Ableton 10 years ago because I wanted there to be something exciting that made me happy in life, and when you're going through a lot of crap, it's good to have something you can fall back on until you get enlightened, of course, and then it doesn't matter what's happening in the world, you're good. But it can be great to have something like this, whether it's music production like Ableton, or whether it's making videos, or making digital art, or anything. Could be like knitting sweaters. Could be anything. It doesn't have to be all technological, So, as you can see, geez, what is that? I don't even know why. I'm like about to yell at all of my equipment because it's making these little cuts and. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm overloading the CPU. It's almost like it's just the energies. Remember I've told you guys sometimes the energies are just heightened in the house and things cut and then of course you got Mercury retrograde, which does crap to technology. Anyways, we're gonna have fun today, as we always do. That's why you watch. There's really no reason to watch these unless you enjoy them and have fun. We are going to have fun with Wavetable, which is literally if any of you guys are watching and you don't have Ableton Live Suite, which means you've got all of the Ableton shit, and you're like, man, I don't know, what should I download a plugin, or should I get Operator? Just get Wavetable, and that's it. And just get really good at Wavetable. It's so good, so many different sounds. And as we saw last SDHO, you even have the formant sounds. And when you've got this drop down over here, basics, you've got all these different wavetables. I love that name, Wavetable. Just like wave and table. It's something about it makes me think of a pool, and we like pools because if you're in a pool, you probably are on a vacation, or as you Brits and Europeans would say, holiday. I'm going on holiday, and then us Americans are it's actually called vacation. Use the right words because the United States is very important, That's a joke. That's how it used to be. I actually think everyone on the planet is much more enlightened. It's only the politicians and the governments that'll tell you that we're all... I won't even go into it. They try to tell us things to divide us from uniting and becoming enlightened and making the world a better place that they can't control. You already knew about that. I won't get into any of that unless you want me to, in which case, buy an NFT, get exclusive access to the secret society where I will divulge all of the secrets of the occult, the esoterics, the metaphysics, the higher dimensionals. All right, 111, that means you gotta do it. That means I'm coming through with the high vibrational frequencies. Let's get into the wavetable. Let's go to retro, should we? I don't think I ever went into retro. So when you go into one of these, you then have these different ones. So right now it wants us to be on echoes. Why did it choose echoes to be the first wavetable? Well, I guess because it was, I guess it's because it's alphabetically. Why is the word escaping me? I thought it was because it was the best one, but look at this beautiful wave. Let's hit a note and see what it sounds like. Now let's, so the big thing about wavetable is that this is a wavetable, okay? Doesn't have to be like that. Why don't we play it and move it, see what happens. So immediately we could do a thing where we could start it up high right here. See how like it's, what do we need to do right now? Oh God, why did it do that? Spectrum, because we want to look at this. We want to look at it. Yes, we definitely do. Wonderful. So let's take a look. Let's hit note. Would, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be a lot lower. So I'm going to come down here to semitones. I'm going to crank it all the way down. Now, when I take a look at this, this is the fundamental right here. I'm playing a D. I want that to be like higher. Ooh. But we could make it do this. And how would we do that? Well, we're going to come to envelope 3 because envelope 3 never gets used. And we want it to start high and then swoop down, okay? So I'm going to move this to here. And I want to see what it sounds like when I start it here and swoop it down. How would you do that? Well, what am I adjusting right here? I'm adjusting the wave table position for oscillator 1. So let's go into the matrix. By the way, have you guys escaped the matrix yet? All right, more on that later. So envelope 3, where do we want to route envelope 3? To oscillator 1 position. So watch it. I kind of wanted it to go down like that because it's often like very good, like with like filters and stuff, in like manipulating harmonics. If you can make it start bright and go bright to not so bright really quick, which is what you would do with an envelope, you get like a punch. And this punch didn't work because we were giving it a positive amount, but you can do negative amounts because I want it to go from here and go scoop. I don't want it to jump up. Maybe if I was down here. This is a weird one. This is a weird table. So we're gonna go back up to here and I'm gonna give it a negative amount. See if it'll do what I actually want it to do now. I love it. It's very nice. And the reason why I knew that would happen is because we've got a lot of harmonics right here, and then we're going to less harmonics. I'm going to turn this off for the time being just to show you. The harmonics are very low, but look what happens when I raise it up. They're getting louder. So when you look at this thing right here, this is the fundamental. This tells you what note it is, and these are the harmonics. It's weird. It's almost like they made it here and then they made it. And so we don't even have to do that sorcery with the envelope on the oscillator 1 position. I almost kind of like to get a really good sound and then use the filter to shape it like we would kind of do, you know, with like operator or analog. And so like, listen to this. You go, oh, that sounds like shit. But if you do this, take the filter. And now let's go into envelope 2. Actually, we'll just use envelope 3 to demonstrate it, high to low. So now let's route this filter frequency. And if it doesn't show up in the matrix, have you escaped the matrix yet? I hope you do at some point. Yeah, route it to envelope 3. Play around with moving in more. I need more bass. Yes, we could put sub on here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to the pitch. You can just play lower in your keyboard, but I've like fallen in love with playing my laptop keys. Like A all the way to L gives you like 14 keys. Not 12, which would be an octave, but you get 2 more, so I can play D. C. So this is C. That's also C, an octave up, and then I got D. So if you ever, I'm sure you've heard that thing. That's just playing octaves. Especially like if you know about them octaves. Not octave, octave. Because y'all just say it better. I'm doing some laundry. I'm actually doing Merlin's laundry. He's got these beds, little beds that he likes to hump after he eats his food and he wants to hump. You gotta clean them, right? You know, I don't want to. Anyways, let's move on. So, what will we do? Well, let's like just look through these wavetables, see what harmonics 1 does. Let's move through it. Well, this kind of sounds like glass. Why is it so ridiculously high? Let's move this pitch down. These are just interesting, convenient ways to change the sound. It's so weird because it's like the better I get at doing these, which just so you know, every time I come in here and work on these, I get better and I'm able to like make the sound quicker. So it's like now I'm opening these things up and I'm making good sounds and I'm like, I don't know what to do now. What am I going to talk about for the next half hour? Like it's like I wanted to make a good sound and now it's already done. I like that. So I don't want the envelope because I want it to just play forever. Oh, but I'm not hearing anything. We'll turn up the frequency, silly. And I don't want it that. Let's lower it. So like what you would do is you would like kind of go through the wavetable and maybe you might like it somewhere else, like up here. I like the way it sounds down here because it's like a little bit more, and by the way, I want to make a long sound because I want to bounce it to audio and then I want to throw it into one of the many samplers, which I'm also including the granular synthesizers as samplers because you're throwing a piece of audio into it. Like there's nothing to do with the granular synthesizer unless you throw a piece of audio into it. So I like the way that sounds. But we want to get some movement. How would we get movement? Well, we could come into LFO1 and yeah, it's at a rate of 1 hertz. And let's go into the matrix. By the way, and then we're, it wasn't a cut, I'm just being silly. And let's go to the oscillator, no. Let's modulate the filter frequency, of course. So if it's not showing up here, click on it. Oh, there you go. Now it's routed to LFO. So look, LFO1, I want to put LFO1 to the filter frequency. Just a little bit. See it moving? Wonderful. So that's always good. That gives you nice movement. So when you have a long sustained sound, it has a nice movement to it. But with wavetable synthesis, you can modulate a lot more, like this position. So where's the oscillator 1 position? Right here. Now let's do a little bit to oscillator 1 position, and then let's see what kind of sound this gives us. Going to the LFO, lower the hertz. Can just be a little bit, but now it's so much more interesting than this. It's like do something, and then you just do a little bit. And so you want to find where it sounds good, but you have all these great things to play with. Sometimes it sounds more interesting and harmonic than others, and you can play, I didn't really like harmonics 1. Let's see what harmonics 2 does, shall we? It's crazy. Some of them don't sound so musical. And anytime, what can happen a lot with Wavetable is when you're playing around with it, you can get sounds that like sound like they are too nasally and they don't have any bass. That's why you would want to come over to sub. So without sub, now with sub. Hear it? Hit, hit, hit. And play with this octave amount. The gain. And tone will sort of like add some harmonics to that subby sub. You don't always need it. And let's play this warp. Let's see if we can make it sound better. Someone said, I like when you was doing that. Just make it do that all the time or something. So what do we click? We clicked warp. So let's add some of this LFO2 to the warp. Too fast, right? Let's lower the heads. Wow, I think I need to do something to make myself really bad at designing sounds, because like I come up with these ideas now, and now I'm just doing them in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, what the hell do I talk about for the next 45 minutes? But it's a hangout, so we're hanging out. Cheers. Oh, hey, Chunkush. He's cool. No, don't walk where all the wires are. Just jump up on the couchy, Chunky. Good boy. So, yeah, we're going to move on now. But we are going to make something noise. Let's go to the Wavetable, clip properties, draw in a note, shift down arrow, shift down arrow. Let's click, let's make the length 4 bars. And with this guy highlighted, you can box select, legato. Let's click play. That's, I think it's probably too deep. Move it up. That actually sounds kind of interesting, to be honest with you. Stop it. Okay, shift up arrow. Let's see, let's click play again. It's interesting, it's complex. Shift it up. No, I think this is what we want. Wonderful, wonderful. Control T. Audio from the resampling. And let's record it. Click both. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So now you've got this like delicious audio here. You can bring it in. If you aren't able to do that stuff, make sure you've got warp and loop. And I'm gonna right click in here. I'm gonna crop sample because I want it to be prettier or whatever the hell. And so now we can take this, click play, but you're gonna have to switch it over to auto. Click play. Now you might say, well, okay, we're gonna go throw that in a sampler of some sort. Oh, we will. But right now we're in the audio realm. If we were to go into the sampler realm, we would be going into a MIDI realm. What does that mean? Well, there's audio tracks and there's MIDI tracks. But because we're already in audio track right now, what would we do to play with this before we get into the MIDI realm? Well, that's when we use the warping engine to warp this audio. And you might get a really cool sound, or you may not. In fact, you don't even need to screw around with this, but this is something that you can always do, and will give you cool results. So we're going to stretch this audio. Okay? It's going to get deeper now. Even though this is already a bass, this might make it too deep. So maybe this technique doesn't work that good. I would have it on repitch for this technique, but we can use other warp features, but let's click play and see what it sounds like now. See how it sounds like it's because it's so deep that like it's not really giving us. So let's play with this in the other way. And of course, you could come to Complex Pro and just like shift the pitch down or up. You would have to click play though. So yeah, you can do all of that, but who really cares? You know what I'm saying? Because you can just throw it in a sampler. Command-Shift-T, open up that MIDI track. Arm it, throw it in, go to Instruments, throw it in a Simpla. And now we can just do the same thing, but now we can just play our keyboard. Why do people always say it's like you can't clap with one hand? I'm like, hey, you just ain't trying hard enough. Because you's mental. You got to strengthen your mental. Smash a like if you're trying to strengthen your mental. And then after a while, you realize that it's actually more important to not strengthen your mental, but strengthen your emotional body. Because if you think your mind is controlling shit, it's actually your emotional body. Oh, that's right. You're only going to hear more about that stuff when you sign up to be in the exclusive club membership where we cover the spiritual metaphysics, hacks, secrets of the universe, because it really ain't that hard. Sign up. Otherwise, I can't get into this stuff on YouTube, because if I do, the dark ones will seek me out. Because anyways, I need to stop talking about that. Sign up for the exclusive membership if you want to hear about the secrets of the universe. Wonderful, wonderful. But we're not going to be using this. We may use Slice. I want to... No, we're not Slice, because it's like the same sound. But I want to use something more interesting. So let's delete this. Let's go to Zimax for live. Let's go into Zimax instrument. And let's get Zgranulator. Wonderful. So here is our sample. Yay. And then see this little thing? That's the looping part. Let's zoom. Click the zoom. And let's some spread. Notice how it's the stereo just opened up. click the grain. Give more release. Pitch, let's shift it up. No, deleting it. So it turns out, because this never happens when I'm just using my computer, because I don't have like multiple digital streams that are recording. I don't know if you saw the CPU spiking. I don't know if my big ol' head is covering the CPU, but it was like spiking at 50%. I think we ran into this a couple of SDHOs ago with the granulator. It can take up a lot of CPU. And I don't want to screw around with that. So let's go to another one. Let's go to instruments. Let's go to emit. Any day now, emit. Drop sample here. Now, if you were somewhere in the United States of America, you'd probably say, drop sample here. That's boring. But you can say, drop sample here. That's a hell of a lot more interesting and a lot more... What's the word? I'm not coming up with good words today. Normally I do. Although we are about to be in Gemini season soon, which is my astrological sign. So I think my words are going to be better. When you're watching this, we might be in after Gemini. What comes after Gemini? Cancer. Then what comes next? Leo. You already knew that because we're learning about astrology in our secret spiritual club that you are a part of because you hold an NFT. Thank you. All right, so let's drop the sample here. Wow, look at this art it made. That's beautiful. It doesn't always look like that. Notice how it just plays automatically. Want to know why? Because this thing up here is moving. That's called the transport. I don't know do people know that that's called the transport? I didn't know that. Well, I do know that. I've known that for a long time. But there was a time when I didn't know that, and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone doing any Ableton video calling it the transport, besides the OGs. The people that make these synthesizers to get in the cheese. Let's go. Let's get more of them. Let's turn up the grains. Turn up the grains. Oh my God, why is it not happening? Well, it's because you need to go into here and turn this up. And you can just drag this. Drag it down here. Ooh, see how it got bassier? Because lower on the emit, you get to bassier. So if I move it up, you're not hearing much. Why? Because I think that's like a higher frequencies that aren't present, that aren't as present, so you aren't hearing much. Because you can't hear what's not there. So let's move it back. Just like with EQ, people don't realize that EQ, like check out this EQ right here. Look at how I'm doing this and nothing's happening. That's because there isn't anything here. But if I go down here, these are just volume. Like it's saying boost the volume of this. But if there's nothing here, see how it's only here? You're not going to hear anything because all this is it's boosting the volume of a specific frequency. You know what I mean? So like if you come down here and you just like lower the volume, you're just lowering all of the volume. And so so let's I don't know, move it here. I need more bass, move it back down lower. But now let's get extra crazy. Let's get more speed going on here. And let's go to the lifetime and let's make it longer. Why are you guys disappearing? You're supposed to bounce off this stupid thing. Alright. Well, the best thing to do is you go to audio effects, you go to the LFO, and you map it to this angle. So now you get them launching everywhere. And let's get... Maybe lower this depth, because maybe it's going too cray. Maybe lower the rate a little bit. And I think it might need to be a little bit louder. And then I think I want to see what it'll do with like a very ridiculous reverb. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's get a delay. Put it before the reverb. Tick it off. Wonderful, wonderful. Lots of feedback. And let's record this. Delete. So what the hell does this sound like? It's what we recorded. Let's have it in repitch and let's start stretching it. Nice. Now we just have like a pretty cool, just like a white noise kind of a thing. Let's throw down a simple, because it might sound bad when it loops, so I want to do the thing you would do with the simple. Let's see, does it sound good when it loops over? No, because you can hear that click. You absolutely cannot have that. Let's do the simple. Ooh, it knew where I did the thing. And let's double click in here. We want to do C3 because C3 will play it at the default pitch. So click in here. Invert, or not invert, legato. Why did I say invert? And I don't want it to, so I want it to be on loop. And where do I want it to start? Don't want it to start there, definitely don't. Actually, I do. And so length. And then we need fade. And now let's play it. Put up the volume. Perfect. That's how you like loop it without. That's another thing that a sampler will do for you, is it'll like allow you to do that. You could have done it with the audio, like looping, but like there's always like a click or some sort of a clip. It never really does what you would kind of want. We could do like some things like that, but I want it a little bit deeper. Go to the MIDI effect. Shift down arrow. Wonderful. So when you do that fade, it fades it. Otherwise, you would have some sort of a click. All right, I'm gonna minimize all these. Go to the audio effects. Go to the auto filter. Go to bandpass, or not bandpass. Damn, my brain is just not working today. That's okay. This is bandpass. Just a little bit. ZLFO. No. Compressor. And let's do what we did that last time. Let's get a drum loop. Doesn't matter which one you even use, to be honest with you. Audio to sends only because I don't want to hear it. Double click, loop it. Let's go in here. This side chain. Ob. Lower it. Turn it off. Turn it back on. You could also get out of there if you didn't want to do that. And you could go over to the gate. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Side chain. Go to the orb. Ooh, someone said, I like this so much better, thank you. Adjust the gain, because like it's doing this based off of like the spikes. You do have to change the parameters a bit to make it sound the way that's like pleasing to you. And then of course you can also do it, probably sounds better when you do it with the Autofilter. Take this down. You have to do the envelope. Come into this drum loop. I want it to be faster. I'm done. Making me go mental. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's just snork this down. That was wonderful. Yeah, so like I like to make these like very long sustained sounds, and I was like, what if we could just take, you know, some sort of sorcery and like make it rhythmic, right? Because like normally when you have a piece of music, what is being rhythmic? It might be the drums are rhythmic. It could be like someone playing a bass. Like, you know, it's like rhythmic. You know, it's like rhythmic, right? But when so someone might say, oh, well, if you're listening to like ambient music, it's just like drones and sound textures. Well, you wouldn't want drums or like, you know, rhythmic-y stuff. It's like, well, what if you could take your drone and make your drone rhythmic? And then that's when I was like, oh, yeah, so I should play around with this side chaining thing, which, by the way, you can use the envelope follower of Max for Live device. Actually, I believe it's in MIDI effects. Where's it? Envelope follower. What? No, you gotta go to Max for Live. Envelope. envelope follower, not envelope, but envelope follower. It basically says, put me on any track and I will listen to the fluctuations in volume. And then you can take these fluctuations, high, low, fluctuating, and you can map it to a parameter. And then you can use that to like modulate the parameter. So it's like, you know, rather than using like an LFO, that's like a periodic cyclical sine wave, it can be like going, so like there's a lot of cool stuff to do with it. And so I hope you guys had fun. I don't know, but thank you very much. These are getting shorter and shorter. I just saw 444, which means angels, but that was on my recording, like how long I've been screen recording for. Anyways, God bless yourself and thank you.